Hello, Dr. Tuli.
Yes.
Yeah, you are live, sir. You can start your presentation now. Thank you.
Okay. My greetings to all the colleagues on the eve of this Doctor's Day, and with word of gratitude to the good MD to give me this opportunity. The topic for today's discussion is reversal of post-COVID-19 syndrome by its holistic management. So I will request all the listeners to please keep a paper and pencil next with you so that you jot down the questions and let's have a good shower of question answer session, because that is what really brings out what we need to do is to discuss more and talk less. So any case, I have to lay down the platform by just making an introduction to the subject, and then let's have a good hearty discussion at the end. Right? And I bring this talk to you with compliments from the Society for Holistic Advancement of Medicine, SOHAM. Friends, SOHAM is dedicated to promotion of positive health and total wellness, body, mind, and spirit, as far as possible by drug-free, harmless, and natural means, because this can help us to even cure. That means eliminate the basic root cause of practically all conventionally incurable diseases in an acute state or a chronic state. Now, first let's assess what are the problems that this pandemic of COVID-19 has created for us, and what have been our limitations in managing it by our conventional medical means, because more than 95% of healthcare in our country is essentially based upon the modern or the allopathic system of medicine. And what are the shortfalls and how we can help overcome and turn this tide of COVID-19, which has made the life of the people all over the world miserable. So friends, so far what we have learned, the lessons, as it is very conventional that prevention is the best cure, and that applies very much to this pandemic also, which is very feasible by adopting a responsible corona appropriate behavior, which by now I think every citizen in the country is very much familiar that it involves using of a mask, keeping safe distance, and personal hygiene and sanitation. I would request all of you to spread this message that each individual has to take responsibility for oneself and involve one's family, thereby our community in the society, and that will go on to spread and protect the whole nation. As they say, let's act locally and think globally. It is, besides following a sincere, disciplined, corona appropriate behavior, we must take care of our health through a healthy lifestyle, which means adequate relaxation, good sleeping habits. I am a fan of the proverb early to bed and early to rise, because it makes each one of us healthy, wealthy, and wise. Our bodies are designed for a fair amount of physical activity, which we must achieve through regular exercise. And of course, human being is just not a physical being. As it is accepted in our Vedanta, a human being is a physical being. Oh, sorry, actually, the human being is a spiritual being on a physical journey. And this spiritual aspect of the human can be achieved through observance of Ashtanga Yoga, healthy nutrition as per the Ayurvedic principles, with adequate fluids and electrolytes. Because this helps us to give good health, and our immunity is directly proportional to our quality of health. And health, as you know, is not only physical, mental, social, but also spiritual well-being of each person. So when we are healthy in our all the dimensions, 4 dimensions of our health, we get a natural immunity. And this immunity is not only natural, it is universal. It helps us to cope up with all the germs in the environment, and we can very well tackle whatever may be the emerging variants of this COVID virus that may come up in the future. So this is called natural vaccination. I would call it spiritual vaccination. When your spirit, that is your life force, your pranic energy, when it is healthy, you develop such a good state of health and a very healthy aura around you, which works as a armor and protects you or keeps away all the harmful invading germs. Compared to this, while our country has launched the world's greatest vaccination program, we must all participate in it. And at the first instance, we must go and take the vaccine. But you know, for 140 crore population of this country, vaccinating at least 80% of population to achieve what is termed herd immunity is a huge task. We need to vaccinate at least 1 crore of people every day, so that by the end of December this year, the whole country would have achieved that target of herd immunity. But you know, even to get a supply of this large numbers, we have the logistics, we have the capabilities, but to keep getting a continuous supply of such a large number, and the logistics involved is hugely challenging itself. But what worries me more is in future, the new variants that may come. We have already been through 2 waves of this pandemic. Will the 3rd wave wait for us to achieve sufficient level of immunization or vaccination in our country? What would be the future variants? Will the current vaccines adequately protect us from these emerging variants? We do not know. So while we go for the vaccination program in the country, we must, even more important, is to go for take care of each one and enhance your own immunity, and what I have just given the name spiritual vaccination. Let's protect ourselves. And then, of course, we have to be alert that any disease is a fundamental principle that it should be detected at the earliest, so that the patient can be isolated and manage his symptoms very well. Keep a watch on the oxygen level, because what we have seen, as the disease aggravates, the oxygen concentration, the SpO2 starts falling. And when that starts falling to a critical level that we must do early hospitalization and care under an expert team of specialist doctors with adequate medication and the life support. We all have to be very cautious that if our immunity is not healthy, if we contract this infection, we may develop such lowered immunity that we become vulnerable to the various opportunistic infections, and this fungal infections, what's called the mucormycosis, has taken a huge toll and created a lot of scare. So we must be very, for the early recognition, diagnosis, and treatment remains the hallmark of any successful medical management. But the problem that we have discovered is that even after we have recovered from the active phase of COVID sickness, the morbidity can linger on and last for many, many months. That is called the post-COVID syndrome. A syndrome because it's a group of very varied symptoms that may affect us, that may disturb us, that may immobilize us, and in many cases, even after having recovered from the active sickness, many people can lose their lives. And the severity of post-COVID syndrome may not necessarily be proportionate to the sickness that we had. Some people had very mild sickness and recovered while at home only, got a very severe post-morbidity, or some very post-morbid, very severe sickness people may not get a very severe post-COVID morbidity. So, however, the people who are weak, the people who are frail, whose health is weak, whose immunity is low, or who suffer from various comorbidities, like whether it is uncontrolled diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, cancer, or they are on immune suppression drugs because of autoimmune diseases, post-organ, chronic renal failure, etc. These people who are more vulnerable, they have to be given special care because this virus can damage any organ. It may damage our lungs, which is through where it enters our systems and creates very serious problems. But its problem becomes more difficult when it affects our cardiovascular system because it damages our endothelial system and all the macro and the micro vessels supplying all organs in the body. Thereby, any organ, any tissue in the body can be affected, and it does serious damage to our brain tissue or our immune system, etc. Now, the symptoms of post-COVID syndrome can be very, very varied, can be very generalized. But anyone who continues to suffer from any fatigue, body aches, chest pain, joints, muscle pains, etc., or even running a low-grade fever, having a compromised loss of smell or taste can be suspected to be due to this syndrome. It may, because of affecting the lungs, it may create shortness of breath, cough, difficulty in breathing, etc. And also the various psychosomatic symptoms in the form of disturbed sleep, anxiety, depression, dizziness, various cognitive disturbances, vertigo, etc. Or dizziness, that is postural disturbances, problem of memory and concentration, and these symptoms would worsen even after mild physical or mental activity. of course, we have to be very cautious about the opportunistic infections like the mucormycosis, and it can be any other ones. Now, the damage that it causes to various lungs is because as the virus enters into the alveolar system, it causes pneumonitis, which tends to heal, but by fibrosis, creating a situation like an interstitial lung disease or a chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, compromising our oxygen saturation. The heart, the very myocardial muscle can get damaged, leading to cardiomyopathies and heart failures. Its conduction system is getting affected in many people, creating various kinds of arrhythmias. And as we have understood, it affects our vascular system, the macro and the micro, leading to the clotting mechanisms, which may threaten any organ tissue system in the body. By affecting the brain, it may cause certain seizures. It may aggravate the onset of Parkinson's disease or the Alzheimer's, and even the Guillain-Barré syndrome, which you all know can be very alarming to the family. The immune system also gets affected, especially when the diabetes of the patient gets flared up, inviting many opportunistic infections and drug-resistant microbes. Now, these are in spite of the best of medical facilities, we have seen that there is such a large number of problems tend to persist, for which, unfortunately, we have very limited treatments. We can only give symptomatic relief, but we do not get to the cause. We have not got a drug which can really eliminate the virus from our conditions. This is the second time in our living memory or in our professional careers that we have found the total reliance on the modern medicine or the allopathic system of medicine does not fulfill the requirements of the humanity. The first time it happened, those of you who went to the medical schools in the last century were taught that why healthcare delivery in the world cannot be managed by exclusive reliance on the modern or the allopathic system of medicine for its inherent deficiencies. For any number of medical colleges and the AIIMS you open in the country, it remains inaccessible to a large populations. It is very exorbitant. You know, this COVID epidemic, pandemic itself, there's the government statistics show that about 5.5 crore people fall below the poverty line in 1 year because of their out-of-pocket medical expense in the private sector. And most people prefer to go to the private sector because they are not satisfied with services in the government sector. So it's both ways we get a beating. Its costs are very high. The side effects, the iatrogenesis is inevitable. And the problem is that it is confined to only physical or the symptomatic. So that is why the World Health Organization, following the failure of this program, had recommended that there should be an optimum integration of all the systems of health, because that can increase the accessibility, affordability by indigenizing the healthcare services in the countries. And very important, this was 1986 World Health Association, World Health Assembly passed a resolution that human being is not just a physical, mental, and social, but also has a spiritual dimension, and it should be added to the dimension of health. But alas, 25 years later, it has not been implemented and creating deficiencies in our healthcare services. But we have to now overcome these deficiencies in our system by indigenizing, by creating a synergy between all the systems of medicine. And that is where the concept of holistic medicine comes. As we said, holistic medicine is an optimum synergy of the evidence-based science of modern medicine, or the best practices of modern medicine, with the time-honored modalities, of the various alternate systems of health. Now, since, as we all know, nearly 95% of healthcare services in our country are based upon this allopathic model, no two drug-based systems can be combined. So still we have a very good opportunity by combining the drug-free modalities of the traditional systems that come from the system of yoga and Ayurveda. If they are complemented with the modern system of medicine, it really enhances its efficacy and can give you a care for all, health for all. And that is why this word holistic word implies that it treats the human being as a whole, not only the body, mind, but also the soul. And thereby it takes care of the individual as a whole and all the ailments of an individual concurrently. It complements, this approach complements the best of all the systems of health and medicine, all the specialties, super specialties, and subspecialties of medicine to improve healthcare, thereby bring and restore the old glory of the medical profession. That is, when modern medicine is complemented with the drug-free, they are non-conflicting, they are complementary. They help to benefit, help to improve the outcome of every sickness, thereby bringing credit to the medical profession, to the doctor. And why anything that can help enhance my efficacy should come in my way. I should go all out, cross all frontiers, all dimensions to bring these modalities to work in my practice for the benefit of my patient. Anything that helps my patient should be my religion. And since in these modalities we are not using any drugs, they are harmless, there's non-conflicting. They only help to enhance the human capability to fight the disease, eliminate the disease, and restore healing, positive health, and total wellness, thereby adding to the quality of life of each individual. And my friends, I took to this when I found that these practices are very predictable. That means you say this will happen and it happens. That is, it is reproducible and it helps to go to cure the disease in every stage of sickness. Like I say, at all the stages, it is beneficial at all the stages, the primary, the secondary, and the tertiary, or the chronic diseases, as well as acute and life-saving situations. It complements to improve the outcome of every sickness. And by fulfilling these requirements, this proves to be scientific. Yes, there is a limitation because these modalities work at a different level. They don't essentially work at the physical, they work more at the mental, emotional, and the spiritual level. Like human being is a microcosm of the universal macrocosm. So the macro, the cosmos runs through our psycho, to the neuro, to the endo, that is cosmo, psycho, neuro, endocrinology is a whole that determines our biochemistry at the cellular level. And this must be adopted by a competent physician. You know that because of lack of the qualified doctors taking to this approach, there's a lot of quackery has come up and is doing immense damage to the humanity. So it is our responsibility to safeguard the people also against the quacks. They have also invaded into our practices and are doing a lot of damage to humanity. So this must be a special effort. Now, following the WHO recommendation of an optimum integration of the various systems of health, our country, our National Health Mission has also promulgated, and here you see our Honorable President advocating that both modern and traditional systems of medicine should be appropriately combined for the benefit of our people. And as doctors, let us not fail in our responsibility to adopting and adapting to anything that is good for our patients, that is beneficial for our patients. In any case, you know that the health of an individual is a trilogy of factors. I would use the word, unfortunately, modern medicine is all the time chasing only the disease causing agent and trying to kill it by LO means external interventions, which come in the form of various pharmaceuticals or surgical interventions, etc., which may not have been really designed for us. The environment has a very important role in our health. As we just said, that human being is a cosmo, psycho, neuroendocrino being. We are all the time affected by our environments. Now, the COVID virus has not yet reached the target of 4 lakh deaths in our country. But I'm sure you all know that year 2018, 18 lakh people died in our country because of the direct effects of pollution. And you know, pollution causes a lot of morbidity and ill health, leading to long-term damages also. So 18 lakh deaths but we just do not accept it. I thank the visitation of COVID-19 that it has made us aware to at least start wearing the masks and improve our personal hygiene. That will protect us from the vagaries of the environment. Our environment is very subtle, just as our bodies are. We are a living being. What keeps us alive is a very subtle life force energy, what we call the pranic energy, that rests within us as a microcosm, but it's a part of the macrocosm, universal macrocosm. The whole environment is a very subtle but a very powerful and all intelligible energy. It knows everything. It's not only managing the human race, but as many billion species as there are human beings on the planet, and keeping them in such synchrony. In addition, in our environment, we have very sensitive energy fields. You all know that it is a scientific accepted fact that we have North Pole and South Pole creating these magnetic energy fields. But these natural energy fields or our natural gravitational forces are being continuously bombarded by the development of the modern communication systems. They create perhaps more powerful vibrations in our environment than our bodies are designed to, for very subtle natural energy fields. And that disturbs our milieu interior, leading to a whole disturbance of our life force, of our pranic health and creates very slow chronic diseases, which manifest ultimately into an acute stage. So we must take care of our environment very particularly and of our personal health. My immunity is as good as my personal health, and my personal health cannot be improved by any medicine in the world. It can only be improved by good lifestyle habits, good health, good nutrition, and that is what can give me a good immunity, which is a natural armor against and a universal armor against not only the present strains of the COVID, but even the emerging the strains that may come up in future. So to get a universal immunity or a positive health is only possible through taking care of our own health. We must be very aware that our environment is made of the 5 elements, the Panchabhutas, as we are made of. So we must expose ourselves to the nature for, I would say, not be too much every day for about 2 hours and go and do our some health activities. I give an example to my patients. You bring a healthiest of a plant, buy it at a very dear price and keep it in your air conditioned room and ensure its nutrition in whatever form that you can. How long this plant will last? But if the same plant we keep outside in the open air for an hour or so every day, this plant will remain always happy because it is made of the same elements as human beings we are made of. So it is our duty towards ourselves to expose ourselves to nature and to its Panchabhutas. They will nourish us in a very subtle manner. We can't perceive because we are so accustomed to it, and also harmonizes our cells to the natural energy fields. At the same time, let's take care. We cannot isolate ourselves from the technology, but at the same time, let us take care to minimize its invasion into our personal lives and disturbing our individual health. As a great sage, you all know, Shri Sundarlal Bahuguna, he had said, harmony with nature is the only way of life, or a good life, healthy life. Yeah, this slide should have been a little earlier because this brings out the the deficiencies in modern system of medicine. All diseases, we are only treating the tip of the iceberg, the symptom. Even if the cancer is removed surgically or we try to knock it off, why did it happen in the first place? Why did I get hypertension? Why did I get diabetes? Why I get various disorders? Because there is a disturbance, maybe right at the mitochondrial level, at a very subtle energetic level of the person. But we are all the time treating only the symptom. When we treat only the symptom, we never get to the cause of the problem, and that is left behind. A disease can never be eliminated. And the advantage of practice of this holistic or all the best practices of all the systems of medicine together by minimal interventions can help us overcome and reduce the cause of the disease from its very roots. And that has been the Charaka, the sage. They have been, our ancients have been very familiar with all these things, and they say the balance of the body and the mind of an individual is responsible for his happiness and health. And in present times, we can also say immunity, and their disturbance in their harmony leads to diseases. And also, whereas the practice of or objective of medicine is not merely a disease-free living, but a firm establishment of positive health, and as they say, total wellness. Blind follow-up of science, as the greatest scientist of all times, Sir Albert Einstein, had stated, science without spirituality is lame. Spirituality also, he says, spirituality without science is blind. We must have, science means we see the reason, we see the evidence, we see the proof. So this must also be simultaneously, both we must follow, as they say, the modern medicine with the traditional medicine, make a proper combination of to get the best for ourselves and the humanity. And also, let us not permit the technology overtake the human capabilities. You know, our Honorable Prime Minister has spread the word of yoga, and this year we have completed on 21st of June 6 years of acceptance of official recognition of yoga in 195 countries of the world. Because yoga means, yoga brings harmony between my microcosm and the universal macrocosm. It brings a state of equilibrium, what's called peace. It restores my milieu interior, my autonomic nervous system, which is the secret of my good health. And the philosophy of yoga inculcated into our very lifestyle is the only way we can be healthy. And even though early disturbances can be corrected by the active practices of yoga, but when the diseases become little advanced, then we have another form I'll just share with you, what I call accelerated yoga or therapeutic yoga, which helps us even in dire emergencies or in very advanced diseases. Of course, this is, Hippocrates had also said, primum non nocere. That is, first, make sure that you do no harm. Unfortunately, no allopathic measure assures that. There is no drug in the world or any intervention has been devised which assures that it will do no harm. Rather, there's always a side effect, and we always, invariably, we prescribe a covered drug to overcome the side effect of any medical prescription. And of course, let thy food be thy medicine. Now, it's very interesting, the system of acupuncture, which has been a part of our Vedic practices in the form of what we call Suchi Veda or Bhedan Kriya, spread to the Far East along with the spread of Buddhism, and was patronized by the monarchy of the regions. And today, the system of acupuncture is known to be the system of Chinese origin. But just as in the Far East, right from whether it is China, the Indochina, the Koreas, or the Japan, the Buddhism spread from India, carried the Indian philosophy, and was patronized by those people. Its essential philosophy is just as that of our Vedic various Vedas, the Atharvaveda in the case of health, and the system of Ayurveda, the science of life. But while this brought the transformation in my own career, watching the Chinese in their 70s, they could do major surgeries, very effective analgesia under the effect of acupuncture. 80% of, and a lot of Indian doctors were trained by the Chinese, who set up so-called these pain clinics in our country, but they were not permitted by their superior surgeons to practice into the operation theaters. And way back in 1982, after nearly 20 years of experiment and research in the Chinese, by year 1982, the World Health Organization had given acupuncture accreditation as an independent system of health. The greatest advantage of acupuncture is that it involves no use of any medication. So it can be complemented. That's why, and its philosophy is the same as what we call yoga. And yoga, as we say, is the Ida and the Pingla. Here is the yin and the yang. That is, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic is harmony leads to homeostasis, restoration of the milieu interior, and healing is human beings' natural habit. And it helps us to overcome and bring out the people much faster from acute states, and at the same time also heal the ailments which have been subsisting for a very long time, what we call chronic ailments. So this holistic medicine is, as you say, is a optimum synergy of all the systems of health. Whereas modern medicine remains the backbone of emergency medicine. But let yoga and Ayurveda as our lifestyle form the very basis of health. As medical professionals, our greatest objective is that people should remain healthy. And of course, we can use in between because of people's faith and easy availability in the interior areas where a lot of Ayurvedic doctors or homeopathic doctors or Siddha and Unani doctors may be available. They can take care of the problems of the people. But of course, when the problem becomes serious, it is rushed to the medical hospitals. And medical sciences, the benefits of medical science are inevitable in acute, urgent conditions needing surgery, for example, trauma, etc. At the same time, we can bring these people out much faster by application of acupuncture and going on to restore their lifestyle, health, and keeping them a total health, as they say, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. The greatest advantage is that this approach not only treats the emergency, but it goes on to remove the basic cause of any sickness and thereby restoring what we call positive health and total wellness. So these are the various modalities which we need to apply in our practice of as a holistic means, as a complete physician, as a sampoon, balanced, santulit, saksham, capable, and result oriented. So we can use the various drug-free modalities, complement them, and it makes us far more effective, efficient, and successful doctors in any field. So this holistic medicine is like wholesome approach to health, and the word W disappears and it becomes holy. Holy means human being is a holy being, a spiritual being. And recognizing the spirituality of the human being and tapping the spiritual life force, the pranic energy of the individual to restore his health and wellness. The drug-free modalities of community medicine, the public health, the vaccination programs, etc., the work which is done by our ASHA and the Anganwadi workers in creating health awareness among the people, trying to provide them with proper nutritional advice, etc., antenatal care and all, they form the very basis. But at the same time, if anybody they find is falling sick, can be rendered as, the Chinese started with, they created a barefoot doctor. That was one of the first things Chairman Mao Zedong introduced in China soon after their independence in the year 1949, was to have healthcare workers in the form of village postmaster, or a school teacher, or and gave them a basic training in what may be today called acupuncture or acupressure, etc., along with the herbs and dietary advice which they could be uh, provided right at the peripheral level. And it helped people from going into serious problems. As we see in a simple uh, oral hydration therapy, it saved millions of lives. But when we were medical students, this awareness did not exist. So similarly, very simple modalities can go a long way. And also the Ayurvedic practices of continuous detoxification, because it's like we bring the best of the fruits and vegetables into our kitchen, but some leftovers are left behind and they turn into a garbage and start creating foul smell over the day. Similarly, whatever we consume into our system, there is some garbage, and this must be cleared. And there are, that is why we must have good, clear bowel movements, our urination, our sweating, and our breath. Through all these four modalities systems, we keep on cleansing our system. And once in a while, one can go for some specialized, what we call the Panchkarma techniques to get rid of our toxins that develop. We develop more toxins because of our negative thoughts, because of our ill thoughts, than any other food or any other substance in our body. So that is the importance of yama and niyama in the practice as the first two steps in the practice of yoga. So this awareness has been spreading, and in the year 1995, I was advised what happened to be the world's first department of its kind of holistic medicine at then the Apollo Hospital's flagship hospital at New Delhi, at the behest of Dr. Pratap C. Reddy, whom I consider one of the greatest visionaries, because he proclaimed then 26 years ago that holistic medicine is going to be the medicine of 21st century. But unfortunately, it has not withstood the commercial needs of the forces controlling the profession. This 2002 British Medical Journal, by then, this concept of integrating the various systems of medicine had caught out, that they dedicated a whole issue to this concept, and where its editorial wrote, integration of complementary and alternative medicine gives doctors and the health profession an opportunity to bring together the strengths and to balance or overcome the weaknesses inherent in different systems of healthcare, representing the coming together of the heart, head, and the hand. And that is the beginning of the process of healing. Healing is natural. It cannot be induced by any medical intervention. This is my nature. It's my inherent nature. My body is all the time trying to heal itself, replace the old with the new. But somewhere that process is tempered, particularly when I take more and more medicines. So I must try to minimize and get rid of all medications to be able to be healing myself and live a Vedantic healthy age of 108 years, not die a death, but have a departure. That should be the prayer of every human being. Well, you may all know that following this starting of our Department of Holistic Medicine 1995, in USA, this system of holistic medicine got a board certified specialty since year 1998, and it's increasingly being promoted. And we have been knocking at our healthcare planners to give appropriate recognition to this subject, so that more and more doctors can practice it, it can be accepted by the people, and also become be reimbursable by the insurance and the various companies who take care of the expenses of the healthcare of the people. So, coming near the end, the holistic management of post-COVID syndrome, we leave with the recommendations that I say each one, it's like when there is a war, it is a soldier, you be a soldier, let's be a soldier ourselves, that we have to fight this war on a war footing by involving every individual, every person of the family and of the community, thereby living on to the whole nation by observing sincere observation of COVID appropriate behavior of using the masks, personal hygiene, sanitation, and keeping a safe distance. Let's go for vaccination at the first opportunity. But what is most important is let us take care of our health, improve our health, develop our immunity, and develop our beautiful, natural, universal immunity, which at the same time concurrently helps us to even overcome all the lifestyle disorders. It is not perhaps the effect of COVID directly which has killed people, but people have got killed because of their comorbidities. All these comorbidities are lifestyle disorders. That means created by us, ourselves, for our own illness, sickness, and suffering. And we have to take responsibility. Nobody can improve my lifestyle. No medicine can give me what my own healthy lifestyle can give. And that can only help me overcome all these diseases, which unfortunately our country has become already they say capital of diabetes in the world. And diabetes is like it affects, it causes vasculopathy. It affects our vascular system, macro or the micro. The supply of blood, delivering oxygen to every final cell in the body, every organ and tissue is affected by the presence of diabetes. And if you live a stressful life and develop hypertension, it busts those pipes which are getting damaged, and the excessive pressure in them goes to burst it and creates problems in any organ. So by following a healthy lifestyle, we can prevent, we can reverse, and even when we have got trapped into a deep sickness, this optimum combination by a competent qualified physician in holistic medicine can always help you to reverse these diseases. Let this be our slogan in this Doctors' Day, that we all take up the best practices of all the systems of health so that we can extend the best possible care to our patients, thereby to the humanity, and fulfill our mission of being the doctors, the saviors of humanity. And no doubt, a good health, a vibrant health gives us a very healthy spirit, and that's called a spiritual immunity. It's a universal immunity. It's immunity against not only the COVID and its all the variants that may come up in future, but against all the germs. And not only all the germs, when I'm spiritually healthy, I'm free from all diseases, from all sicknesses, all lifestyle diseases, and I live a healthy life till my last day. I don't die, I depart. Well, to establish the credibility, as we've been saying, this system of holistic medicine, unfortunately, we are at least 25 years behind the USA, who have taken our wisdom and introduced this. Whereas in our country, we are lacking behind. We are chasing the health planners. May God give them wisdom. In spite of having been realized at the highest level of the presidents and the prime ministers, it has not been implemented down the line, which may encourage generation of modern young physicians to adopt this as a profession, as a specialty, and help the larger interest of the people, and thereby earn their respect, the dignity for themselves, and glory to the profession. So we certainly are aware that we need to also establish its scientific credibility, but we must be allowed more and more projects on various diseases. Things are being done all over the world, but in a little, I would say, in a little futkar manner. But we need to bring it together and set up a model of healthcare for the whole world. Just to give you an indication that there is no disease which cannot be cured by this model of medical practice. As we say, it helps us to provide an accessible, an affordable, a predictable, reproducible, and sustainable model of very simple health within our existing resources. Sometimes people, invariably our health planners quote the figures from the West. What is the number of doctor population, the hospital beds population, the ventilators population? I have written as a medical activist on this, that the per million incidence of this COVID infection and the death rate in these so-called advanced nations, including the USA, UK, France, Spain, Italy, etc., which have near optimal health services, they spend a few hundred times more than our healthcare in the country. Their figures are worse than our own country. It's not we need to go and learn from them. They need to come and learn from us how we have been able to contain this pandemic to such low levels. It is because of our heritage, our culture, that these practices give us certain natural health, natural immunity, which has protected our country. And we need to work even more and scientifically on it to establish a credibility for all of the world, and let India be the, as they say, Vishwa Guru. India's status has been not only a country which was called a Soni Ki Chidiya, but was a Vishwa Guru for whole of the world for centuries before the invasion of foreign forces over the last 700 to 800 years were tried to rule us by damaging our own culture and our heritage. Let us revive that. And we have a great leader in our Prime Minister. I bequeath him to lead the nation from the front and give optimum support while we promote the science. Let us also promote the spirituality in the country, as guided by the greatest scientist ever, Sir Albert Einstein, to give best to the humanity. Well, I can boast of the number of highest celebrities in the country who have been my successful patients. I don't think any single doctor in a individual practice would claim such great achievements. And I bequeath all my colleagues to become lighthouses of medical wisdom, spreading health and happiness all over. And I thank you all for this patient hearing. Now I look forward to a bombardment of questions from you to make this more interesting, lively, and enjoyable. At the outset, I will request each one, let's each doctor be a model of health by following healthy lifestyle, healthy nutrition, good exercise, and healthy nutrition. And then you think good, do good, and be good. Eventually, we all become doctors to fulfill the Vedic prayer that Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramya. May all beings be happy and may all be healthy, and let us be able to serve them and be the instruments of their health and happiness. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Tuli. Thank you so much for sharing this with us, sir. It was an insightful session, and I can see there are many comments on your, good comments on your video, sir, and there are many likes. But no questions have been posted as of now, so the questions may come later on. You just have to log in your account, sir, and you'll be able to see questions over there from Dr. Sai. So I thank you once again.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
I'm grateful to Team Liberate, the good MD, for giving me this opportunity again. God bless us all. Happy Doctors' Day.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.